As the COVID-19 pandemic rages on in most parts of the world, how are Agilists finding meaning and purpose in these troubled times? How can we connect, inspire, and support each other? In days gone by, Caravanserai has provided rest, recovery, and community for travelers along the ancient Silk Road. Similarly, we hope that our Agile Caravanserai episodes will provide rest, inspiration, and hope. We hope each episode will remind us of our shared Agile values and thus bring us closer together. In past episodes, we've heard from Agile Manifesto authors like Jim Highsmith, Kent Beck, and Alistair Coburn. We've connected with captains of industry like Michael Carroll from Nationwide Insurance. We've also heard from global Agile titans, including Rashina Hoda and Evan Laybourne from Australia, and Naresh Jain from India. As we begin to see the glimmers of hope for the end of the pandemic, Agilists continue to respond with resilience. This is a time for transformation. I invite you to join me as we continue to journey together. I'm Sanjeev Augustine, and this is Agile Caravanserai. Naresh Jain is an award-winning, internationally recognized technology and product development expert. Naresh is the founder of the tech startup Xnsio, as well as a veteran conference producer and an Agile and Lean expert. I first met Naresh at one of the early Agile conferences several years ago when he was developing the Agile Philly community here on the East Coast of the United States. Over the last 15 years, Naresh has helped many unicorns in Fortune 500 companies, including Geo, Google, Amazon, JP Morgan Chase, and the like, to streamline their product development. His hands-on approach of coaching teams by focusing on product discovery and engineering excellence at the same time is really a key differentiator. Naresh is also responsible for creating and organizing over 100 international conferences, including Agile India, Agile Coach Camp, as well as Eclipse Summit India. Please welcome Naresh Jain.
Great to see you in at least remotely. I remember the time when you were here in India, we hung out, but at least we can hang out remotely now.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
And when you were here in Philly, right?
Yep.
A decade and a half ago. First question for you is, it's been 20 years since the Agile Manifesto was signed. So we're in the 20th anniversary of the Agile movement. And as you and I were discussing, lots of people think that Agile is passé, Agile is dead. What's the new big thing? But I wanted to get from you, and I refer to you as the sort of the senior statesman of Agile in India, because you've been doing it for such a long time. And you've been on the vanguard of the Agile movement in India. So the question for you is, what are some of your reflections looking back over the last 20 years of Agile? And I think you've been involved with Agile for about that long.
Yeah, I mean, the Agile Manifesto itself has certainly been an interesting cornerstone in my career. The first time I kind of came across extreme programming, and then that led me to Agile. It's over the last 20 years, I would say a lot has changed in terms of how I look at the Agile movement itself. On one hand, I see over the years that we've been able to break barriers within the teams first, and then outside, like with business, with partners, allowing us to bring diverse teams to work towards a common goal. I think that's been pretty interesting for me as I've experienced this moment. The second thing that I can think of is essentially this whole self-contained autonomous teams concept that I think Agile has really helped popularize, where we focus more on the outcomes and tangible impact rather than measuring some arbitrary, metric that only makes us feel good, but is not directly related to business outcomes or tangible impact. And I think, at least in the initial days of Agile, I had this feeling that I was part of this cult group that was really trying to challenge the dogma, trying to eliminate waste, trying to deliver value faster, focusing on things like art of simplicity, which is maximizing the amount of work not done. So it's been a pretty impressive journey from an Agile point of view. But as you know, I mean, in the last few years, I have maybe 11 years now. I do see the other side of what's going on, right? So I see there's a lot of snake oil salesmen. Sorry for the words, but I do see a lot of snake oil salesmen trying to sell silver bullets to organizations. I often say that Agile has become the new waterfall, right? Bloated, dogmatic, out of context practices. Sorry, I meant best practices, and so forth. So I feel we kind of at some point we are missing the forest for the tree. Like my friend Dave Thomas says that we're doing things which we exactly wanted to stay away from. So that's, if you ask me honestly, those are my reflections of the last 20 years of me being involved, with this agile movement.
Thank you. So if I were to sum up, when we first started, you slash I, we were the part of this quote unquote cult movement, and we were the barbarians at the gate. But then we morphed into being inside the castle, and now there's a tendency of we have seen the enemy and it is us, because there's a snake oil salesman aspect to the way agile consulting and coaching and training is being sort of pushed out, I think, and you and I have been sort of against that from the beginning. But it's kind of hard to parse that message, right? And say there is still the need for the mindful application of agile methods. There's still a need for the focus on the customer outcomes and good product development and good technology towards a good business cause, but it's hard to kind of parse that out from all the noise, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well summarized, as always. Thanks.
So great segue into our next question. You're always up to something exciting. You were the sort of the prime mover behind the Agile India conference a number of years ago. How are you doing personally in the pandemic?
The pandemic, right? Like this is, in my opinion, for me at least, this is the biggest disruption I have witnessed, right, personally. You know, for me, I think it was a wake-up call in some sense, kind of a reminder that, nothing lasts forever, and why it's even more important to embrace uncertainty. I would say the pandemic has taught me a lot of important life lessons that maybe kind of forgotten along the way. As you get really busy with stuff, you kind of, stop valuing fellow human beings around you. You stop valuing certain relationships that, this really brings all of that in your face. And so this pandemic for me has been in many ways a reflection, a time for introspection. But I've also been very fortunate to be working with a team that has done some amazing work in the last 2 years, and that's like, for example, we raised the highest amount of investment in the shortest period of time ever any company has raised. Not just in India but worldwide. So just being at the center of some of those struggles probably has kept me sane. Otherwise, I probably would have lost my sanity with everything that's going out there. And I think I consider myself extremely fortunate to be in this industry where I could do pretty much everything, just staying at home. Didn't have to step out. I know, unfortunately, a lot of people, including in my, first relationship level, where people have to go out to do their day jobs, and it's been extremely stressful. Hoping that they are safe and stuff like that. But I think, I would consider a few of us fortunate, not just to be safe, but also to be working in places where we're actually making a big impact as we are going through this. So I would summarize that that's what kind of has kept me sane.
Well, you weren't joking when you said you're an optimist. So I want to lead that or use that to sort of lead us into the third question, which is, what's your message of hope and optimism, even as the world starts to pull out of the pandemic? And I know India is, of course, was doing very well and then did really badly, but you are seeing a lot of positive trends. So as we get ready for the next 10, 15 years of Agile or whatever we call it next, what's your message of hope and optimism for all your fans in India and worldwide out there?
I think I earlier was telling you I'm generally an optimist, right? So I look at any situation and I see there'll always be two sides of the coin, right? There is the suffering, but on the other hand, there would be something interesting going on. I would say that this has fast tracked our evolution, if you will, at least by 10 years, right? And so to me, this is a great opportunity for us to reflect on things. And I heard this metaphor, someone on one of the podcasts, that the pandemic or any such massive disruption that has happened before is kind of the analogy they were using is like birthing, right? It's a painful process. You go through this, but on the other hand, there is something beautiful, right, out there. So that metaphor really, stuck with me, right? I feel that's how I would love to see this situation. Yes, this suffering we are going through, but there's something beautiful on the other hand. And as we do that, I think it's important for us to remember that, we need to unlearn a lot of things. And our rate of unlearning has to be faster than our rate of learning things, right? Because at the rate at which things are changing. So I would say, look at the world from the perspective that we're going through a birthing process. We look at how effectively can we unlearn. And then, of course, the first Agile book I read, the subtitle of that was Embrace Uncertainty, right? Extreme Programming, Embrace Uncertainty. And so I would say that still holds good. That's, if that's your attitude, that's your look out to the world, pandemics will come and go, but we will be here.
Yeah. So thank you, Naresh. That's a very hopeful message. And by the way, we had Kent Beck as one of the earlier guests on the show. And so I'm sure he'll be appreciated for the shout out that you're giving him with this very classic book. So thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate it. And any last parting words for folks if they want to find you or check up on you, and where's a good place that they can get resources?
I've a bit in the last couple of years, I've gone under the stone, if you will, or in my cave. I've not been active on any of the social media and stuff like that. Just that it's too depressing out there. so I'm generally accessible through emails. That's probably the best way to get hold of me. I used to be active blogging, Twittering, all of those things back in the days, but I think it's kind of all fallen off the radar now. So I would say, just Google for Naresh Jain and you'll find how to get in touch with me.